Welcome everyone to episode 18 of the Missing Pieces podcast. If this is your first time watching or listening, this is a podcast where I discuss my life and Lego and anything else that I found interesting in the last week, or in this case, the last 2 weeks, because we actually missed an episode last week, which kills me because I've talked before on this podcast about the importance of consistency when making videos or podcasts or anything you do. Being consistent and showing up and doing the thing that you do, I think, is the most important thing. Even if it's not necessarily what you want it to be, just being there is important, because what happens is, and I've experienced this myself, and I'm sure other people out there that have made videos as well have run into this. If you say you're going to do something every Sunday, for example, like a Missing Pieces episode, and you miss one of those days, the next week that comes along, it's very easy, and I ran into this today a little bit. It's easy to be like, well, I'll just skip this day too, and we'll pick it up next time, and then we'll pick it up next time, and eventually the thing you're doing comes to an end, and people that are relying on you are also let down. So there's a lot of reasons that it's important to be consistent, but in this case, as you can tell behind me, we actually moved last weekend, so that was a lot to take on, and I felt like my time on Saturday and Sunday, being that we moved Friday afternoon, I felt like Saturday and Sunday, I could use that time much better than making a podcast like this and just getting everything set up, and we're still doing that. It was moving day. Friday, Saturday was kind of getting things arranged, Sunday more arranging, and we're still, we're still getting stuff from our other house. And I have a recommendation for anyone that's thinking about moving, or if you're planning to move anytime in the future. We tried to save money by moving stuff on our own. We're just moving 30 minutes, so we'll pack the car up here and there and take trips and go back and forth. And then we'll just have the movers move the big stuff. And I can tell you with 100% certainty right now that that was a terrible mistake, because we have taken so many trips and there's still 10% of our items. The last 10% is the worst things, because it's the stuff you never use, and it's all still over there. So today even, we're still going back and making trips. And I wish what I would have done with this move is literally had them just boxes of everything in our entire house, box up the entire thing, and have the movers come and just move everything. It would have been more money, obviously, because every trip that they'd go in and out costs money. I think it was $140 an hour for the move, and we only spent $800 on the move, which wasn't too bad. Maybe it was less than that, $700 or $800. But had we moved everything, it would have been significantly more, but it also would have been a lot less stress, because everything would have been here, and we could have just started unboxing stuff. Instead, what we're doing now, which is going back and forth and cutting into my missing pieces time, which is very important to me. But that was last week. Obviously, it's going to be an ongoing process, but I promise you that Missing Pieces is going to continue on every single week from here on, unless there's something majorly wrong, which I hope not to happen. In terms of the studio, if you're watching this, the studio is under major construction right now. I've got all the painting done. The walls are the way that I want them. The lighting's the way that I want it, I believe. Hopefully this is looking okay. I don't have any other lights other than the ones that are in the ceiling here. And if you're listening to this, I can just describe this to you by saying that it's completely white void with white lights and blue carpeting at this moment, but that's soon going to change. It actually came, if you see at the very corner of the shot over here, they came and took out some of the carpeting where there's going to be tile. There's also going to be tile over here at brickitect. And it's just a lot going on. But I want to talk more about that a little bit later. I do want to mention this is available everywhere you can listen to podcasts, as I always say, but we're up to 62 ratings on Apple Podcasts, which I am very appreciative of. We're still number 4 under Missing Pieces. Again, I should have probably done some research on how many podcasts are titled Missing Pieces before I made this one. But when I go in and search, there's 4 tiles and we're the lower 4. So if you are listening to this, or if you have an iPhone or whatever, go on and leave me a review. I really appreciate it. We have 62 of them, and every one of them is 5 stars, which is amazing. Even my hater didn't go through the effort of going out there and leaving a 1-star review, which I'm sure they will now. But that's okay. A rating is a rating. If you think this is a 5-star podcast, leave 5 stars. If you think it's 3 stars, leave that. If you hate it, leave 1 star. I'm sure you probably aren't even listening at this point, but if that's how you feel, I totally understand. This is a podcast that is kind of spur of the moment. I think, actually, if I have my phone on me, the last review that we got essentially said that it's not a scripted podcast, so if that's something you're looking for, this isn't it. Actually, I'll read it to you here. It's a good podcast. Watch it on YouTube, and then came to watch it on the go. Very passionate, comfort podcast. If you're looking for a scripted podcast, this isn't it, but it's a genuine one. I'd much rather be genuine than scripted, personally. Maybe it doesn't flow as well, but I feel like it comes from the heart, and that's the important thing. In other news, speaking of supporting this podcast, other than leaving reviews, you could also join us on Patron, which since the last podcast, which was 2 weeks ago, we had 3 people join us, which I'm so thankful for, especially with what's going on in the YouTube space these days, especially when you want to have kids in your videos, and especially even more when you're having kids in your videos and you're doing toy stuff. We had Nick, Garrett, and Jennifer join us on Patreon, so thank you guys so much for joining us. And Jennifer actually left a comment that I thought was really helpful, but also kind of like, I'm not 100% sure where to go with it, so I thought I would throw it out to you guys here, and maybe you can give me some recommendations on it. Even if you're not a Patreon detector, or if you have no plans of joining, maybe you have a suggestion here. She said, just recently discovered your channel, and I love you guys. I'm just kind of learning of the COPPA thing too. I sincerely hope that you are able to continue making videos with Clark too, and that it can still be financially sustainable for you. Perhaps consider higher Patreon tiers as well. Could supplement it a bit. If you heard that in the background, I literally, we're going to come back to this. This is the non-scripted part. I just opened the refrigerator door. The fridge is over here, over by brickitect, and I opened up the freezer part of it to find an entire block of ice. The entire freezer is encapsulated in ice. So I thought what I'm going to do is open up the fridge door, unplug it for a little bit, and see if I can get a little bit of melting happening, so I can like pull that block of ice out, which is going to be like extremely satisfying if I can pull that off. I'm thinking the fridge might have to go outside, but if you hear any kind of like crackle and pops, it's not Rice Krispies, it's the fridge on the side here. Keeping it real, guys. This is what's going on in the brickitect studio 3.0, or yeah, we'll call it 3.0. But back to what Jennifer was saying. I need to make this a scripted podcast, seriously. She was saying that maybe more people would be willing or want to join Patreon if I had higher tiers or better tiers. I've dabbled in this a little bit here and there. My Patreon thing is set up now where there's no tiers really. It's like $1 or more. If you want to support us, you can. If you want to donate $1, $5, $100,000 a month, you can do that. And in exchange for that, like the benefit is that I do exclusive videos there, and I need to get better at that. I want to do those at least weekly. But she's saying that maybe if I did something where it was like at a $10 thing, we can do this, or $20, you can do this, or whatever. And I think that's a good idea. And I see people having a lot of success on Patreon doing it that way. I don't see many people that are just like donate. I think my thing literally says, donate what you want if you want. Like, it's no commitment. It's not like I'm forcing you to pay certain amounts of money for exclusive things or whatever. But maybe that would be a good idea, and for the main reason because brickitect has taken a substantial hit with this new COPPA thing, because with me, I know there's a lot of debate on what's made for kids and what's not made for kids. I'm under the understanding, at least for me, and I know we've talked about this at length before, and I apologize if you're tired of hearing about this, but this is important for what I'm doing here, so I feel like it's worth putting out there, and maybe it'll raise awareness for people as well. My understanding is that if you're making videos that aren't tailored towards kids, even if they're toy related, like you can be an adult and enjoy Lego or action figures or whatever. If those videos, if the audience you're talking to, like I'm talking to you right now, if that isn't 12 years old or under, your videos are most likely not made for kids. And my Lego videos that I do solo like this, or ones where I'm just talking to the camera or whatever, commentary, anything without Clark, man, I'm considering to be not made for kids. But when you introduce a 4, now 5-year-old into the equation, and you're playing with toys, building toys, oftentimes like having a really good time, which is always my goal in my videos, I can see how YouTube or whoever is looking at that could say, you know what, this really does feel like it's made for kids, and I understand that. So I went through and I marked all of my videos with Clark in them, which was a lot, as made for kids. And you'll see as I make videos, and you probably have noticed over the last week or two, that some of my videos, when I upload them, 1, you're probably not getting a notification, and 2, you can't comment on it, which is a huge bummer for me because I love reading comments. It's terrible, but I'm going to play by the rules, at least for right now. I'm not even going to say this, what I've considered to do. Maybe I'll say it somewhere else and we'll delete it later. I don't want to say it because if I start doing this and then they come back and find this moment or whatever, it could get me in trouble. But I was going to find a way to game the system, but I really don't think that's a good idea, at least for now, because this is my livelihood. And I don't want to do something for a short-term gain that's going to be like a long-term loss, like getting the channel shut down or whatever, because this is my life. This is what I love to do. It's my passion, if you couldn't tell. But as a result of those videos, most of the videos that I've made in the last 2 or 3 years getting marked as made for kids, we've taken a hit financially on this channel. which is fine. I find that Greg's World, I've been doing a lot of stuff there that if it's just me and Clark sharing our day or whatever, and it's not us literally like playing with a toy or showing off something that's toy related or shopping for toys, I find that can be, that's just anybody. It's not tailored to kids. Do you want to see a guy run errands with his son? Probably not when you're 10 years old, but it's sharing our life. And I find that Greg's World is big enough that it can financially sustain brickitect for what we're going through right now. I don't plan to stop making videos with Clark. And Jennifer's comment there, she said, I hope that you're able to continue making videos with Clark too. And I definitely will do that. It's just that those videos make a fraction of what videos that I would make is not with Clark or not made for kids make. In fact, it's hard to compare like apples to apples, but I think it's from my experience just in the last week or two, and this is January, so everything else is kind of up in the air as well, because YouTube in January is not a good place to be financially, because advertisers don't want to advertise in the first quarter. They want to be like around Christmas time, right? But I'm getting about maybe 20% or less versus what I would get if I made a not made for kids video. So to have Clark in the videos is essentially costing me not only the notifications, comments, views, but also about 80% of the income that I could make if I made the video just for myself. So I hope, if anything, this shows you that I'm not in this just for the money. Of course, this is a business, and I should probably treat it that way. And I've seen a lot of other channels that are just like, all right, we're not making videos with kids, we're not doing toy stuff, or whatever. But I'm going to continue making the videos that I want to make. And for me, that is sharing my Lego collecting journey with my son. So this all kind of goes back to the Patreon thing, where if I'm going to continue doing this, maybe I do need to find some ways to supplement it on Patreon. I know a big thing that helps is the mail time stuff, like just in the last week or so, just because all of our stuff is in boxes in the garage. I found it very convenient to build the stuff that we got in mail time, and it inspired me from there to build the stuff that we get in mail time each week when we get it. So the stuff from mail time doesn't go in the backlog. And I think that is just such a good policy to have, because there's stuff that people have sent us, like even from the summer or maybe even further back, that is still in the backlog. And I feel terrible about that, because you send fan mail, like a letter and a set, to somebody that you like to watch on YouTube, and you're thinking probably that, oh, they're going to enjoy building this. I can't wait to see them build it. And then 6 months later, I still haven't built it. And I hate that. I hate myself for falling into that. So we're going to change that completely. Anything Lego related that we get, it's going to get built that week. And that really helps financially. Like even if a $10 set, for example, that gives us something to build that I didn't spend money to build. And then any money that we make off the video, whether it is 20% of what it used to be, at least it's a little something, right? Like if I'm going to dedicate my time in editing that video and making it and doing all the stuff that it requires for you to see videos, if the set was something that I didn't pay for myself, it helps out dramatically. So anything that we get in mail time is going to be a Greg and Clark video that we do together, and I don't care about the revenue. I just hope that you guys somehow in searching YouTube or going to your subscriptions, I hope you can see it, because you're not going to be notified. But that is one way we'll make it. Patreon, again, I don't know what to do there. I don't know if I should do like a $5 mark where it's like an exclusive thing there, or $10. If you have any ideas, throw them out there. I would love to hear what you guys think I should do with that. If you hate Patreon, that's fine too. You can say how you feel about that. I understand. A lot of people that watch YouTube, they expect things for free. They don't expect to pay for videos. You're paying with your attention on advertisements, you're paying with your time, but most people don't want to put anything financial out there, especially when you have a younger audience of people that are all 13 years old or older. You run into that as well. So Patreon's a sketchy thing. I've seen people take it where it's been, they just go all in on Patreon and they somehow make it, but I feel like that really limits the number of people that are able to see your stuff. And my big thing is I want this to be available to everybody. I want people to be inspired by what we do. And where I plan to take it this year, I hope that happens tenfold is what I'm hoping for. But in terms of this year and where I plan to take this channel, Clarkman obviously is in preschool, like right now 3 hours a day for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. He's not going to be going in the afternoons as well now that we live closer to the school. So this week during the afternoons, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I should be able to get some things done, possibly do some live streams here on this channel, which would be awesome. I can do it maybe even down here. But this week we're also finishing our office, which is upstairs, and we're getting a table and chairs and stuff. And that's going to almost be like brickitect Studio B, sort of, where it's essentially just, it's almost like a library / office with a table in the middle and a light up above it. It used to be a dining room, I believe. But it's going to be a place that me and Clark can do stuff like building and doing all kinds of things that we want to do without having to come downstairs to do it. So if Mrs. Brickitect is home, instead of us retreating down here to the studio, we can be up there and kind of still be together as a family, or if she wants to come in, she can as well. Because I know my studio tends to get to be very Greg-like, and maybe not like super comfortable. At least our last studio wasn't that way. I felt very overwhelmed by the amount of stuff that was in it. So this space right now, even though there's still like things on the floor, I feel free here. And I feel like there's a world of opportunity. I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet, but this week the flooring should be done. So the tiles coming in, the carpeting should be in stock early this week. And I'm hoping by the end of the week, this place is basically ready for me to do my thing with. The only other thing is the countertop that I want to replace, but that can be done later. I can at least get my stuff in here, get my tables set up the way that I want them, figure out what layout that I want, and make this place something that I really love, and just like look forward to opening the door up and coming down to do my thing. And my thing this year is going to consist of me doing a lot of solo stuff, like when Clark goes to school for sure. I guess it's months from now in the fall, or even in the summer, I suppose I can start doing a lot of this. I'm going to do like a solo video each day where it's maybe either a commentary video, is Brickitect buying it? I'm going to be doing a lot of series on this channel, the plural of series, Siri. Don't you start up Siri. I'm going to do a lot of stuff by myself, I guess, just to kind of keep the channel afloat financially. And I think there's a lot of people that like maybe a more calm video like this one, or, you know, just to see things outside of us building a Lego set. And then the afternoon when Clark Man comes home from school or what have you, that's when we'll do the Greg and Clark video that's going to be made for kids one. So you're probably going to see more videos this year, I would think. Some are going to be solo that actually earn a little bit of money. Some are going to be with the Clark Man that don't, but are what I want to do and share. And I know the videos that 20 years from now that I want to go back and watch, it's not going to be the ones of, I mean, it'll probably be something like this, honestly, where I can crack into my brain from 20 years ago. But I think it's going to be the ones where we share our experience together. That's what means a lot to me. And I know that means a lot to all you guys as well. In fact, we got a really nice comment from the last episode. If you didn't see the last episode or listen to the last episode, episode 17, I talked a lot about collections being a burden, and just like I think the whole move and the process of that really got me feeling like, do I really need all this stuff? Is this bringing me joy? And this is something that I've kind of been working through for a while, and I've seen other YouTubers that have experienced the burden of a collection. And I talked about collections being a burden. But at the end of that podcast, I went from that, and I actually replied virtually to an email that I received that really discussed the importance of spending time with your kids. And, you know, that's obviously a big goal of mine on this channel as well. And I got a little emotional towards the end. Don't go and watch it because it's very embarrassing, but it was an honest, and like the podcast review said, genuine experience where I read an email where the gentleman had lost a child, and he made up for that or dealt with that pain. I don't want to say made up for it, but he dealt with that by spending way more time with his son, and how much better off he was because of that. And obviously that's something that I want to do in my channel too. And a lot of people responded to that, and I got so much amazing feedback from that episode. I wish I could reply to every comment and read every comment here, but the top voted comment really had a special place in my heart, and this really meant a lot to me. It's actually from a username Suntan207, and what Suntan said is, when I first started watching you, my dad and I hung out a little, but not much. Maybe like once every month or two. But when I saw you and Clark, I felt like I wanted that. I'm not going to get emotional during this one. I say that. So we started hanging out more. We started making a shelf, and then just started talking and having fun together. Now we do everything together, and I just want to say thank you for reminding who I love most. That is such a good comment, and I want to say thank you for thanking me. Like, if there's anything that I could do on this channel, it's not important whether I like a Lego set or whether I'm buying a set or us reviewing a set or even building a set. It's showing people that this is an experience that you could have if you wanted it. Assuming that even if you're older, and I'm assuming this person is, if your parents are still with us, it's never too late. Like, even if you've had a falling out with someone, whether it be a friend, a family member, no matter who it is, if there's someone that you ever wanted to reconnect with that you haven't had the chance to, or haven't had the courage to, please just take that first step to do that. I guarantee you, that that person probably feels the same way, and nothing but positivity is going to come of it. And this comment, I hope, more than anything that I could do, inspires you to do that, because you only get one chance at this life, as far as we know. I know someone mentioned the Buddhist principle of not having a collection or wanting less, and I thought that was kind of funny. But you only have one chance at this life, and it's silly to waste it not connecting with people. It's some of the most important things that I think you could focus your time on. And that's coming from someone that's an introvert. I get power or energy from doing what I do right now, talking to a lens and a battery, basically. But I know that there's a world of people out there that can hear what I'm saying. If I was doing this in front of a group of people, I'd have a big issue with it. And I really just love doing my thing and being alone, I guess. Not totally alone, but I love having my family. I love Clark, man. But being with people or engaging with people isn't something that I necessarily want to do, but I find that when I do it, it makes me really happy. Like just this past weekend, I have a video to share with you of this. We went out with some friends to this place called the Hatchet House, which was exactly what it sounds like. It's like boards on the wall. They have all these lanes set up, almost like a bowling alley, essentially. And you take a hatchet and you throw it at the wall, and then you compete with each other for points and stuff. And it was really awesome. And we went out for dinner after that, and it just made me realize that I really do need to focus more time on maybe not being the introvert that I am, sitting at a computer and editing videos and stuff like that. And maybe I need to do more social things like that, because I really did enjoy it quite a bit. And it takes work. It really does. It just doesn't come to you. You have to work on these things. And I had a philosophy for a long time that friendships aren't worth the time that you have to invest in it. YouTube was always my thing, and I guess I got encouragement and power from the feedback that I was getting in the videos. And when people, and I think I've talked about this before, but there's so many positive reinforcements that you get from putting out content to the world. You get the view count, you see that going up. You get the comments that are coming at you. You get people telling you they love your video, they love what you're doing. You see the financial reward coming from it, and it's very powerful. It can be addicting, and I know for 100% that I got into that space, especially in 2018. I was way off balance, and struggling to find balance has been something that has it's been something that I've struggled with forever, and I still do. If I 100% think that if I didn't have a wife and a kid, I would probably be making 4 YouTube videos a day. I would be just all in on it, which would be great for some people out there, but it's not a healthy thing. When you start ignoring your health and fitness and just organizations and letting your place get to be a giant mess like I was, and just putting way too much time into something that shouldn't be your number one priority, it can start to be very dangerous, and I was there. But I'm trying to find balance. I really think it's going to help when Clarkman actually does go to school, because then there's going to be this defined time where it's okay, Clark, you went to school. This is my work time. This is when I can edit videos. This is when I can make my solo videos and all that. When he comes home, it's us time, doing things together, whether I'm filming it or not. Lego, otherwise, RC vehicles, that's another hobby of ours. There's another thing that I want to get into this year that I'm really excited about, which I'm going to keep as a surprise. It's going to be really awesome, and it's actually funny because I got a message in mail time that wasn't meant to be read on camera, so I didn't. And the idea that they had for us making videos was the idea that I was already planning to do this year. I just need to wait for it to get a little warmer out to do it. But yeah, this year it's going to be, I think my best year. Maybe not financially because of the whole COPPA thing, but I think this is going to be my best year in terms of putting out content to the world and making things that I'm proud of making, especially with some of the series that I plan to start on this channel and all the things that are happening. And I'm just really stoked to have you guys be a part of this. Whether you have been with us for years and years, which I know a lot of you have, or whether you just found us yesterday and this is the first time you've ever really watched one of our videos, or maybe you binged a couple of them and now you're in. I'm so appreciative that you're here for me, and everyone that has whether you've sent us mail, whether you've left a review on Apple Podcasts, whether you've joined Patron, which again would be very helpful to do, but again, it's totally optional. I'm blown away by the amount of support that we get on this channel, and to know that I'm just a guy that shares his Lego journey with this kid, it's remarkable to see how many people have embraced us in that. So before I get emotional here, I'm going to try to get through one of these episodes without getting emotional. This may be the one. I've come close a couple times. I want to thank everyone for being here with me and sitting through the last 20 some odd minutes of Missing Pieces. I want to start a segment on the end of this. I did a little bit of it here where it's viewer feedback from the previous episode, and I'd like to share several comments and reply to those directly. So if you want to leave a comment on this and you're listening to this, go over to YouTube and just leave the comment there, and I'm going to pick some out and talk about them. If you have any other topics that you'd like me to discuss on this, whether you want to hear me talk about something that's outside of me establishing a studio and moving and all this other stuff, COPPA, I hope to never talk about that again, but I think it's going to be a recurring thing. Leave it as a comment on here. I would love to engage with you guys on that and have some other stuff that we can talk about that's outside of my brain, maybe inside your brain, and we can put our brains together. I don't know. Thank you guys. I hope you have a glorious rest of your day, whether you're listening to this in the morning, afternoon, or evening. Make it the best day you can, and reconnect with that person that's out there that you were hoping to have a relationship with again. We'll see you guys. We'll find you guys. Take a week off and you start missing out on your famous outro. We'll find you in the next Missing Pieces episode.